Okay, this is SOL Prep 2A. Once again, I'm going to go over 2A, then you should pause it, do 2B, and then you'll probably have 2C at another time. Number 1, translate into an algebraic expression, 12 less, that means subtraction. Cube root would look like that. Product means multiply, okay? So the cube root of x and y, so it's x times y, 12 less. Okay, so that's 12 minus. For these, okay, what you're going to do is almost pretend like at first that only it's this over this. So that's 15 divided by 3. Let me get back to menu here. 15 divided by 3. Okay, so it's going to be 5. All right, you subtract the exponents. Okay. So what I'm going to have here is negative 2 minus, negative 5 minus 2, which is negative 7. 7 minus negative 8, so if you type that in, you get 15. Now, this is a negative exponent, so that's going to move underneath. Okay? That's going to move underneath. Y to the 15 stays up here. Need to move all your negative exponents. All right? Number 3 is very similar to what we've done in SOL Prep 1, I'm gonna reduce that, so it's 2 and 216. That's gonna be 2 and 108. That's gonna be 2 and 54. That's gonna be 2 and 27. 2 doesn't go in there, but 3 does. 3 and 9, 3 and 3. Once again, I eliminate everything that has a line from it. This is a pair. This is a pair. This is a pair. That's left over. So on the inside, I'm gonna have a 3. On the outside, I'm going to have a 2, and a 3. A 2, a 2, and a 3. If I multiply those, that's going to be 12. Okay? To figure out those, that's 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So that just means I have x to the 6th. Nothing on the inside because there was no decimal. 21 divided by 2 is 10.5. So that's y to the 10th. Since I got 0.5, that's going to be y to the 1st. Okay? Jane correctly solved the linear equation, 5 equals 5, which is the solution. Okay, so here's the kinds of things you could have. X equals 5 means 5 is a solution, okay? 5 equals 5, which is the case here. This is always true, so that's going to be infinite. If you had something like 5 equals 0, that's never, so that's going to be no solution, okay? So in that case, since 5 equals 5, that means that that is going to be the infinitely many solutions. So those are the 3 scenarios. X equals, that would have been the only solution is 5. If it was like 5 equals 0, that would mean it would be no solution. Okay? All right. Graph the following inequality. Okay? Now, what you're going to do here, okay, is I'm going to divide that by 4. There's a 1 there. Okay? So that's going to be y. 1/4 x, and if I divide that, I'm going to get 3. Okay? Now, when I graph that, I'm going to start at 3. Okay? I'm going to start at 3. So that's going to be a 3 up. 1, 2, 3. And then my slope is rise or fall over how many I go to the right. So since it's positive, I'm going to rise 1, and I'm going to go right 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, when I make my line here, if it's this or this, it's a dashed line. If it's this or this, it's a solid line. So in this case, I'm going to have a dashed line through it. Okay? Now, all right, if it's y is greater than, or these two, it's going to be above. If it's y is less than or equal to, it's going to be below. So in this case, since it's y is greater than, all right, so it eats the y, I'm going to shade up. Okay, so that's going to be my answer there. All right, going on to number 6. Write the equation in slope-intercept form. This is pretty simple. I'm going to multiply those. Okay, when you multiply those, make sure you type that into the calculator. Negative 2 divided by 3 times negative 6. Okay, it's going to be 4, positive 4. And I got y minus 4 on this side. So what I need to do is I need to add 4. Now notice, the 4 that I add here goes underneath this 4, not there. Those are not like terms. So that's going to be 8. Okay? Identify the solution by placing points. Okay? There's going to be a point here and a point here. That's where it crosses the x-axis. Very simple. Okay? What is the system of equations? So what I got to do is look at this coordinate. That coordinate is 4 to the right, 3 up. 4 right, 3 up. That's why it's C. X, then Y. Just like the alphabet. Going on to 9. Find the domain. Okay? Now, unlike the other one, I wanted to find the range. Now, domain is right and left. So this coordinate is -3, -1. X and Y. Domain is X. Alright, so that's going to be, if I look to the right, that's where my graph is. So that's going to be X is greater than, because it goes to the right, -3, which would be that answer. Okay, find this, F of 4. Now, here's what you do with this one. Okay, you're going to take 4, alright, it's very similar to what we did. Alright, I'm going to set that as X. That's what that means. Set that as X. Okay, this is going to be X. Alright, so I'm going to set that. Now, anytime I have a fraction, I'm going to go ahead and put parentheses around each part of that fraction. Okay? Alright, that will make sure my calculator will do the right thing there, and that gets to be 0.5. Alright, a relation is shown in this table below. Is it direct or inverse? Okay? Alright, so what I'm going to do is, this is similar to what we did before. I'm going to go to Menu. I'm going to go to Stat. I'm going to delete all this stuff. Delete. Okay. 0, 1.5, 3, 6. Okay. This is 0, 1, 2, 4. All right. I'm going to graph. Now, since this goes through, that's going to be a line. Okay. Since it goes through 0, that's going to be direct. Okay. So if I'm being a good test taker, I know these are out right off the bat. Okay. And so what I want to do is calculate. I want to do X. 0.6 as a fraction is 2/3. And that's why that is going to be my answer. So it was Y equals 2/3 X plus 0. Okay? All right. An experiment is conducted. All right. This is, but when I look at this, I got to see, is this, what kind of variation is this? Okay? So I'm going back into Menu. Okay? I'm going to go delete all this stuff. Delete, delete, delete. Okay, delete, delete, delete. Okay, 30. And the match up there is 120. Okay, and then I got 40. The match up there is 90. Graph. Okay, now, dipping down like that, that means it's going to be inverse. Because it goes like this, it's going to be inverse. So if I'm being a good test taker, I know that this and this are out. Okay, I automatically know this is, because inverse variation either looks like this or it looks like this. Okay, all right. But if I wanted to figure out that equation, if I go back to Menu, all I got to do is multiply one line. I multiply one line and I get 3,600. That's why D is going to be my answer there. Okay. Moving on to question number 13. Okay, they want to compare these periods. Now, what you have to do on this, and this is important, is sort of read the question so you know what they're finding. So all these questions are standard deviation, more variable, more variable. So what I'm going to do for each is I'm going to go into Menu and Stat, and I'm going to find the standard deviation. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and find the standard deviation. So for the first one, I'm doing 100. 80, 95, 90, 100, 70, 75, 76, 85, 90. Okay, I'm going to count out by 10 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Calculating. Okay, remember the little O at the X, that's 10.09. So this one's going to be 10.09 for my standard deviation. Okay? Now all I'm going to do is go back in and do the exact same thing with period 2. Alright? It's sort of tedious, okay, but that's sort of how you have to handle the problem. Okay, 90, 70, 75, 85, 85, 90. Once again, I did 10. Okay, I'm doing F1. Here I'm at 6.4. All right. Once again, I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to delete these just so I don't get confused. Delete. Okay, 90, 95, 70, 85, 95, 95 again, 100, 95, 90, 90. Okay, once again, 10. Here I got 7.88. Okay, now I think I can answer these questions. It says, which is not true? The standard deviation for period 2 is about 6.4. Well, that's true. The standard deviation for period 3 is about 7.8. Yep, that's true. The sample from first period was the most variable. That would be if it most variable means higher standard deviation. Okay? Is period 1 the highest? Okay? Yes, that is also true. The sample for third period was the least. All right, the least was actually that one, so that's why that one's the answer. Okay? All right, data collected from an IQ score produced a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. What is the z-score? So that means I got to find that. My mean is 100. My standard deviation is 15. This is, and then this 112 is going to go right here. Okay? So if I subtract across, that's 12 divided by 15. Okay? If I go back to my menu and do 12 divided by 15, that's going to be 0.8. And do I got a z-score of 0.8? Yep, there I go. Okay? Graph. The graph below shows the number of movies Netflix has in the library in the first 10 months. Okay? So this is a line, right? So what I want to do is I want to use these points here. That's 0, 4,000. This is 8, 8,000. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into menu, stat, delete all this. I got 0 and 4,000. Okay, 8 and 8,000. Calculate. I'm doing regression. X, you might have an extra button to press, but my equation is y equals 500x plus 4,000. Okay? And I got to make sure, what one has 500 in front of x, 4,000? Boom, that one right there. Okay? All right. So now go ahead, go over that stuff, and now try B. Go ahead, pause the video, and then come back. All right? All right, now we're going to go on to the next piece. Go back over. Okay? All right, I'll go a little bit quicker through this one. 15 less, less means minus. Square root, sum means add. All right, so I'm going to have square root of x plus y less 15. Okay? All right, this one, I'm going to deal with the numbers first. Okay, so 20, we go back to my menu, 20 divided by 4. Okay, I got 5 for an answer there. All right, now I'm going to do this one. That's going to be, I'm doing subtraction with these. Okay, that's sort of messy. Okay, so erase that real quick. All right, so what I want to do is I want to subtract -7 minus 3 and 5 minus -8. Okay? So when you type those in, be careful. -7 minus 3, 5 minus -8. As you can see, those are your answers, -10 and 13. Okay, so I got x -10, y 13. Since that's a negative, that's going to move underneath. So that's my final answer. Okay, make sure you always finish with your negative exponents. Okay? 2 doesn't go into here, but 3 does. 3 and 1, 21. I think the next one's going to be 11 and 11. Okay? If you want to check that out. So what I'm going to have is, there's my pair. Okay? 11. All right? I'm going to have 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5. So that means x1 on the outside. I'm sorry, x7 on the outside. x1 on the inside. Then I got 28 divided by 2, which is 14. Okay, no decimal, so I just got y14 on the outside. Okay? All right, which one is true? Okay, 8 never equals 3, so that's no solution. Okay? All Alright, what would that have been? X equals 8. What would this would have been? 8 equals 8. Okay? Alright, graph the following. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide these by 3. There's a 1 here in front. So I got 1/3 x plus 3. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up 3, 1, 2, and 3. Then this is going to be up 1 more, 1, 2, 3 to the right, because that number is how many you go to the right. It's going to be up. I'm going to have a dashed line here. And since it's y is greater than, that means it's going to go above. Alright, number 6. I'm going to take this and I'm going to multiply those. -4 divided by 5 times -10. That's going to be 8. So I got y minus 7 equals -4/5 x plus 8. I'm going to add that 7 over to the other side. And there's my answer. Okay? On the graph, place the zeros. That's where it crosses the x. So here and there are my answers. Okay? This coordinate here, find the solution. It would be 4 to the right, 1 up, 4 right, 1 up. So that would be B. Okay. Find the domain. So I'm looking at this point. That's 1, -3. And that goes to the right, so that's going to be greater than. Hold on, my screen's going wild. It's going to be greater than 1. So if I look down here, that's y. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. Okay, so as soon as my computer screen fixes, okay, that's going to be x is greater than 1. All right, find f of 2, okay? So what I got here is I'm going to put 2 in for x, okay? Since I got that weird division, I'm just going to go ahead and put parentheses around each part, okay? And that gives me 0.5 again. All right. Show this relation, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into menu. All right, that's going to be 0, 0. That's going to be 1.25 and 0.5. All right, that's going to be 5 and 2. That's going to be 10 and 4. All right, my graph, take a look at this. Okay, it goes through the center. That means it's direct. Okay, so since it's direct, I know these are out. All right, so I'm going to calculate x. 0.4. Okay, 0.4 is a fraction is there. If you're doubting what that is, all right, if you go back, all right, if you say, okay, well, this is y equals 0.4x. All right, well, which one is that? There's a couple ways you can figure that out. You can either do 0.4, hit enter, and do fraction to decimal, or you can do 2 divided by 5. Either way, you get 0.4. That's why it's that one. All right. Okay, as an experiment that's being conducted. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure this out from this perspective. I'm going to delete those. All right, I got 20 and 110. I got 50 at 44. Graph. Okay, goes down, so that means inverse. Okay, that's inverse, inverse. Direct is out. Okay, I know this has to be my inverse equation. Another way I could do that is multiply one row. Okay, and that's why that one is my answer. 13. Now we're going to look at what do they ask me for? Standard, standard, standard. So I'm going to find all 3 standard deviations. Okay, menu, stat, delete, 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 100, 80, 95, 90, 100, 70, 75, 76, 85, 90. Okay, 10, there's 10 of those. I'm going to calculate, I'll do it one variable. All right, so that's 10.09. Okay, so this first one is 10.09. Okay, go into the second one. $75, 85, 80, 85, 90, 75, whoops, not 75, 70, 75, 85, 85, 90. All right, that's going to be 6.40. And then the last one to help me answer my question, clear those out. 90, 95, 70, 85, 95, 95, 100, 95, 90, 90. Again, 10 on variable statistics, 7.88. Okay, so let's see, it says which one is not true. Standard deviation for first period was 10.09. Yep, that was true. Standard deviation for third period was about 7.9. Yep, that was true. The sample for first period was the least variable. That's not true. That was the most variable. Okay, the higher the number there. All right. Sample second period was the least variable. That is true. Okay. So what you have to do here is look at what they're asking for and then compute it. Okay. All right. Data collected. It's another IQ. All right. It says the mean is 110. The standard deviation is 12. 113, and I'm trying to find the z-score, so that's going to be z equals 3 divided by divided by 12, and if I divide 3 by 12, I would get z equals 0.25. That is why C is my answer. On the graph below, this is exactly like the other one. I didn't recreate that. It's the same as before. All right, you just have to go into stat, menu, stat. I'm going to delete all these. 0, 4,000. Oops, too many. 8, 8,000. Alright, it's a reg. Alright, 400 plus X. There you go. Okay? So that's video 2. You'll get C part. Make sure you go through all that stuff.